Hi, welcome to Baby Steps Finance. Finance one step at a time. Today, I'm going to share with you the life of Ka Shing and how his budget is going to help you grow your money and develop yourself within 1 year. Ka Shing is an awesome man. He is one of Asia's richest men as well as the largest property developer. Now you ask me, well, where did he start? Well, I was thinking maybe he's like Donald Trump. Father give him many money and he used the money to build big buildings. But no, Ka Shing started working at a plastics factory at 15 years old. And then 2 years later, at 17, he became the factory manager. Well, I believe if I'm a factory manager, I would just stay there for the rest of my life, right? It's a pretty high ranking role. But 5 years later, at 22 years old, Ka Shing left the factory and started his own plastics factory. And now the rest is history. And today, he's worth more than $35 billion. Now if you look at the progression, at 15 years old, as a factory worker, until now, a billionaire. What it tells us is that if he can do it, we can do it too. So there are many different types of budgeting plans in the world. The 80-20, the 50-30-20 budget. But screw them all, because Ka Shing personally guaranteed that if we follow his way of budgeting, our incomes and our savings will grow in 1 year. And how he allocates his budget is in 5 parts. The personal living expenses, the interpersonal expenses, the growth expenses, the relaxation expense, as well as the save/invest expenses. So for the first part is living expenses. Ka Shing suggests that we should eat simple foods and nothing too fancy like abalone or steak tartare, but rather we should eat simple foods like rice, noodles, because when we are young, our body can still take it. But in our context, I highly suggest that all of us eat cai peng every day, because cai peng is not only cheap but also healthy if let's say we choose more vegetables for our meals. The other thing I want to point out that we should also spend lesser money on coffee, tea or other beverages, because most of the time when people drink coffee is because they are tired and they need caffeine. But what people don't know is that it's highly likely that they are feeling tired because they are dehydrated and not because they need caffeine. So let's drink some water. Okay, I know this is expensive, but actually it's also not worth it. So I guess plain water will do. To add on, how do you know that we are actually dehydrated? Well, when you go to the toilet to pee, don't look anywhere else. Don't look at other people. Just look at your own pee and compare the color of the pee to this chart as shown. When you look at the color of your pee, you'll know whether you are dehydrated or not. Then you can make the decision whether you actually really need coffee. The second part of our budget is dedicated to developing interpersonal relationships. So what he suggests is that we spend money to buy a meal for people who are more successful than us or can help us succeed. So as a student, we are still not expected to do this, buy a meal for other people. This is why we can allocate this money to spend time with friends. So why did Ka Shing specifically portion out some money to develop interpersonal relationships? Because he knows that when people are budgeting, they will tend to cut down money spent on other people. Because why, right? Why should I spend money on other people when I don't even have enough money for myself? But then to him, it's very important to be generous to other people, because by being seen as generous by other people, you will then be able to build up your reputation and influence, which would potentially increase your income, because more people would look up to you for work, or more people would ask you for help, which would also likely make you succeed. This is why he makes it a very important point to allocate some money for interpersonal relationships. The third portion of Ka Shing's budget is dedicated to personal growth. For students, your school fees can be included in this budget. But you can also use the remaining money to pick up skills that can give you side hustles, such as coding or learning to write a blog. Personally, I allocated some money into a gym membership because I believe that to grow as a person is to grow physically and mentally. And then if you exercise, you get some movement done, you tend to be more confident and happier about your body and yourself, which can also lead you to being more confident in your life. The fourth part of Ka Shing's budget is allocated to relaxing or traveling. Ka Shing believes that all of us should travel widely so that we can understand other people's cultures as well as appreciate our own. If we are on a tight budget, we could choose to stay in hostels if we are young instead of luxury hotels. Besides this, you could also use the money to do whatever you want, because this budget is for you to take care of yourself. The fifth and final part of the budget is for investments and savings. Ideally, we should have at least 6 months of emergency savings so that when we need cash to tide us over some situations, we do not have to sell our stocks at a loss. There are many ways to invest. Some people like to do stock picking by picking out the companies they like, while others simply do not want and can't be bothered to pick their own stocks, and therefore they look to ETFs as an option. One of the most common ETF is the S&P 500. But do you know that there are two types of ETFs that is related to the S&P 500? They are the conventional one, which is allocated according to the market cap. And there's one more, which is the equal weighted, which means that all 500 companies have the same percentage in this ETF. Well, I will leave it up to you to decide which one is the right one for you. But it's important for us to save and invest, because when we invest, we can take advantage of the seventh wonder of the world, which is the compound interest. One additional tip that I have for you when you are spending money is to try to funnel everything into a payment app that allows you to use your credit card. This is because when we use apps such as Shopback, we can take advantage of their cashback as well as our own credit card's cashback, which means we are doing this thing called double dipping. So it will bring us more savings than we actually expect. So the purpose of this channel is not only to share personal finance tips, but also tips on personal growth. And I hope that the Ka Shing budget provide a good starting point for all of us to think about how can I grow as a person and how can I budget my money more efficiently. So remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.